Hi, thank you for tuning in to the Moss Center's Zest Collective Dance Talk in support of their performances, Friday, September 13th through Sunday, September 15th. I'm Annie Hoffman. I'm the Education and Outreach Manager here at the Moss Center. This opportunity is brought to you with support of the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, the Board of County Commissioners, and the Office of the Mayor. I would now like to introduce our moderator, Arsimmer McCoy, who will introduce our distinguished panelists. Arsimmer?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Arsimmer McCoy. I am a poet. I am an interdisciplinary artist. And tonight, I am a moderator for this amazing conversation with Gentry Isaiah George. Gentry Isaiah George is the artistic director of Zest Collective and professor of dance at Miami-Dade College's New World School of the Arts. At age 8, he began studying with Linda Ajapong at the Community Book and Dance Club, and later with Vladimir Isaev at the Arts Ballet Theater of Florida. In addition, Gentry was a scholarship student at the School of Jacob's Pillow, the Ailey School, and the Miami Conservatory's Thomas Almer Youth Ballet. In 2008, he graduated from New World School of the Arts High School. George is the recipient of a Level 1 Young Arts Award and is featured on HBO's Masterclass, which also stars Jacques Dubois. In addition, he has graced the pages of Essence magazine and can be seen in the feature film Life of an Actress. In 2012, Gentry graduated from Juilliard School and began dancing with Ailey II of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Later that year, the NY Post featured him as one of 3 men to watch in ballet. George was also a member of the Lustig Dance Theater and the Dance Theater of Harlem under the direction of Virginia Johnson. Throughout his career, George performed throughout the United States, most notably at New York's City Center, Apollo Theater, and the David H. Koch Theater at Lincoln Center. In addition, he performed internationally, touring Costa Rica, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, and Bulgaria. Gentry has performed works by Alvin Ailey, Alonzo King, Broslavia Nijinsky, Donald Byrd, Francesca Harper, Jerome Robbins, Jose Limon, Judith Jameson, Martha Graham, Nacho Duato, Ohad Nahaden, Robert Battle, Stephanie Batten Bland, Ulysses Dove, and more. In 2013, he and Tyler Garachi co-founded Washington Heights, NYC's premier dance company, Zest Collective. In New York, Zest has performed at Summer Stage, the United Palace, Harlem Stage, Ulster Performing Arts Center, the Wessick Project, and more. In February 2015, Zest debuted A Matter of Heart with visual artist Brian Michael Reed, accompanied live by an electronic performance duo Pax Humana at the Alchemical Theater Laboratory. In 2016, Gentry was invited to lead the dance ensemble at USDAN Summer Camp for the Arts, and that year he began working at the Dance Project of Washington Heights and became the school's youth ensemble director in 2017. In 2018, Gentry became an adjunct professor at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. Gentry has created work for the New World School of the Arts in Miami, Florida, the Governor's School for the Arts in Norfolk, Virginia, Arts High School in Newark, New Jersey, Randolph College in Lynchburg, Virginia, and Cooperative Arts and Humanities in New Haven, Connecticut. In addition, Gentry has choreographed 6 ballets for Peter London Global Dance Company, the most recent of which premiered in December 2021 at the Adrian Arch Center for the Performing Arts of Miami-Dade County. In 2020, George relocated to South Florida and served as a rehearsal director of the Peter London Global Dance Company until February 2022. Most recently, Gentry choreographed and directed Piano Slam 14, presented by Drenoff 2 Piano and the Adrian Arch Center. The work premiered in April 2022. Zest has also performed in South Florida at the Miami Hispanic Cultural Arts Center, Miami Light Project, Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, First Baptist Church of Fort Lauderdale, African Heritage Cultural Arts Center, and the Broward County Main Library. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Gentry Isaiah George. So, Gentry, tell us a little bit about the history of your, and if you can talk a little bit about how it started in New York.
Okay, thanks so much for that introduction. That was so profound.
Well, you're a profound human being. I wouldn't have anything to say if you didn't do the work.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, I started the company in 2013, me and my best friend, Tyler. My best friend, me and my roommate at the time, Cody Perkins, he was a photographer. And we decided to just go out into the woods one day and film a video. And from that video spurred, a collaboration where we would just begin making films and things like that. And we titled our first video Zest, just because that was the spirit of the video. And that then became our dance company. At the time, I was dancing with Ailey too. And a really terrible thing happened on stage when I fell over and I got a high ankle sprain, and it was so traumatic, and I couldn't dance. And I was in the mood for quite some time. And just to stay motivated, I decided to reach out to people to begin choreographing dances. And so from there, the amount of people that I knew then, it was just overwhelming, the excitement. And so the company grew from that injury and that immobility and the desire to continue to move.
That's incredible. The fact that, you suffered this injury, but still your community was still able to embrace you and embrace the new work that you were trying to embark on. And I know that you discussed, a little bit off camera, you had a hiatus following the COVID-19 pandemic with the Zest Collective. What was that like?
Yes, well, we spent so many years working. When we first began, it was voluntary, and then we started getting more money and more support. And then COVID happened and it kind of just like swept the rug from under our feet. And then I moved to Miami. And so I just started would not do the company anymore. And that, that was something that we did in the Washington Heights, and that was great for what it was. And then I got a call. Oh, someone randomly called me and I happened to answer it. And usually I'm a little skeptical, like, who's calling me? And it was Carlene
We do
Sawyer.
not answer calls that we don't know. I get it.
Yeah, and it was Carlene Sawyer from Drying Off to Piano. And someone had given her my number and she was asking, was I interested in choreographing for a piano slam? And I'm like, sure. Who are the dancers? And she was like, you're gonna find the dancers. And I didn't really know many people in Miami. So I was like, I'm gonna find the dancers. And so from there, then it was like, okay. And we have Deja here, who is on our panel as well. And so she was one of the premier dancers for our resurgence here in South Florida. And I reached out to Deja and a few other people, and the company sort of grew. People began to invite other people. I would see people in different performances, or see them on Instagram, or see them in class. And we had been steadily building from there. In fact, I met Deja when we were both dancing with the Peter London Global Dance Company, creating a piece called Corpus, which was in response to the coronavirus. And I just really loved her movement quality, the ease, her generosity, but really the movement quality and the way in which she was able to identify, some of my thoughts so easily and sort of magnify them and work cooperatively with everyone else. So I reached out to her, and I'd say the rest is history in the making.
Wow, that's incredible. I want to talk a little bit though about what it was like for you rebirthing pretty much in South Florida. I mean, getting that call, which by the way, I love Piano Slam. I too have worked with them as a feature poet. Such an incredible initiative in using youth and poetry and dance and piano and classical music to have conversations about some of the things our youth are going through today. So I love that project. But I think we all haven't really taken the time to talk about what happened to the creatives during COVID-19. How was that rebirthing this project? What were the transitions like? How did it feel for you? Was it growing pains?
I say we were in the trenches in New York City, and I'm in the trenches. I mean, rehearsing in the back of nunneries. At some point we were
Wow.
rehearsing outside in the grass. So when we came to Miami, our premiere performance was at the Adrian Arts Center. So it was really a blessing, and we were so privileged to be backstage. And Deja can attest to this, to have our own dressing rooms, and it just seemed like we were just finally walking in the perfect pair of shoes, like everything just sort of opened up and has continued to unfold so beautifully since coming here to South Florida, where the people that we've met, the support from the different organizations, the support from Miami-Dade County, it has just been magnified and such a huge blessing.
That's incredible. You don't hear a lot of those stories, we get a lot of transients that are always complaining about the traffic and about, we're not nice, which Miami people are very nice. We're just show and prove people, you've got to show us and prove to us, and we open up, now are we a little feisty? Sure, sure, but we're flowers, absolutely flowers. So I want to talk a little bit about your past work and some of the things that you've done, and also if you can run off some more of those accomplishments. I know that we've shared a lot in your bio, but there's many, many, many more.
Yeah, some of the past works, the work that I just mentioned, Piano Slam, was our first work here in South Florida. We've done twice now the Juneteenth experience in collaboration with Huge Songs, once at the Miami Beach Band Shell, another at the Colony Theater. In 2023, we were commissioned by the Miami Light Project. That's when we created our work, Afro Blue. I guess this is our signature work at this point, and hopefully we'll continue to do this work well into the future. And earlier this year, we premiered an arts and educational program entitled Roots and Rhythms, which honors Black musical icons. And this we did at the Moss Center on their main stage. We had 2 performances for students in grades 6 through 12. And this was a completely educational program where the students learn about the different artists, their upbringing, and we went into the school system. They have lecture demonstrations and brochures that they could follow, so that before they would come to the performance, they were well informed about the different artists that they were going to learn about. Some other accolades include the Miami Dance Choreographers Award and the Miami Individual Artist Award, which I've received twice, and including the community grants from the Miami-Dade County as well to support some of our work.
I know this is definitely a question that's kind of like a wrap-up question, but for somebody who's accomplished so much, what do you think these folks are looking for? For someone who wants to aspire to as many awards and as much credit as you have received and notoriety as you have received, what are these folks looking for in dancers?
The people who are distributing the awards?
Absolutely.
Or,
because you must have some knowledge of your own self and what you bring to the stage. So from that and recognizing that in yourself, what do you think they are looking for when they are looking at these dancers and they're giving these credits and notoriety to them?
Well, I guess I'd say a consistent track, a work that is well documented, that has great literature about the work, that's quite meaningful, has an impact on the community, and has a vision.
So the 2 pieces that Gentry mentioned, Afro Blue, which is the latest installment from his series Roots and Rhythm, is designed to commemorate Black musicians from the 20th century. Renditions of the jazz standard Afro Blue, recorded by American jazz vocalist Abbey Lincoln and Cuban percussionist Mongo Santamaria, say it too fast, are the centerpieces for this new work. And The Fountain, which is also included, is a dynamic dance work set to Negro spirituals, featuring music by Barbara Hendricks, Leontyne Price, and many more. And those 2 pieces include the 2 folks that we have on today, correct? We have Deja, and Carlos in the building. I told Deja I have a friend named Deja, and for the longest I was calling Deja, and then I learned how to say Deja, and now I got to relearn how to say Deja. And there's supposed to be a drum after that, but they didn't cue my drums. So we have Deja on and we have Carlos on. So if you all could please introduce yourselves and your role in Zest Collective. Carlos, you can go first.
Hi, I'm Carlos Realegeno. I am a dancer with Zest Collective. This is my first season with Zest, and I'm really, really, really happy to be a part of this company.
And what are the performances that you are included in?
I'm included in The Fountain and Afro Blue.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Deja? Deja?
Okay. Yes, my name is Deja Darbonne. I started with Gentry, like you said, during Piano Slam, which was, I think, maybe 2020, 2021.
Okay, yes.
I think it's been like, yeah, I think it's been like 3 years. So I'd say 2021. And I'm part of the Fountain and Afro Blue.
Beautiful. And what is it like being a part of the Zest Collective company?
I would say it's a very diverse group of individuals. We do meet once a week on Fridays. Sometimes we go to the Moss Cultural Arts Center. Sometimes we are at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center. And we also use the space at Miami Theater Center. Gentry is a very calm and loving individual and very charismatic and fun to work with. So I appreciate the safe space that he creates for Zest Collective.
That's beautiful. And Deja, if you don't mind, can we have a little bit of background info on you as a dancer? How did you get into this field? What set it off for you? Was it a dancer that you saw? Was it a flower floating and you wanted to imitate this flower? What was it for you?
Actually, my mother had a ballet studio for 10 years. So I was pretty much birthed into ballet and dance. And I don't think I enjoyed being around other dancers and I enjoyed the challenge that ballet brought to my life. And I just always been athletic. So I think that's what kind of sparked um, this world for me, but I would say not until I went to Alonzo King's Lines Ballet Summer Intensive is when I understood, okay, what dance is really about. Other than just, performing on stage and having your friends and family come and watch you like at a recital. I think going into that space and he's talking about so many elements to think about and he showed me how to souffle and cambre like 3 dimensional using the entire space, and I don't know, it was just a huge eye-opening experience for me when I started dancing there.
When you talk about elements, what are some of those elements?
You would like say, is the air cool? And like, how does that affect like your impression of movement? Like really thinking about what you want to convey through your movement. I think really just using your imagination, that creative side of your brain, instead of just thinking about steps. And like they would say in the summer intensive, if you're looking in the mirror, you're not really dancing. So things like that really spoke to me.
What is something that your mother instilled in you about dance? Like something that you carry with you? Because I know you've learned a lot with lions, but what is something that you, when you're dancing, you hear this or you see this?
Of course. I think my mom, I learned just from her in general is like how to command the space,
Mhm.
because she is a leader and because, she was a business owner, and just being a Black woman, having a ballet studio, sometimes, people would come in and be like, "You're the teacher?" And
Mm,
it's like, and it's like, yes. So I think, really being able to be confident and command the space and, not apologize for like your talent
mhm.
is something I really learned from her.
Yes, it is interesting that even to this day, classical genres, still people of color are having to break through and are still having to, validate themselves in that space when we are the curators and creators of so much of it. And we do it with no effort. Like we put it on and we can take it off and we can also jazz it up. I love seeing the little ballet dancers put like hip hop moves into like being on point at the same time. I could never do that. But it's beautiful to see how we can take a genre, flip it, and keep it exactly the way it is. Yeah. Carlos, tell us, what was your motivating factor? What brought you to dance?
Um, so what when I was in sixth grade, and my school knew that I wanted to be like, they had like this dance club, and it was only for girls, so they didn't even like allow boys to audition for it. And then I was always like, but why? I kind of just like, I guess, opened that door. And then the school saw that I was very interested in dance. So Batsheva Dance Company came, I think it was like in 2016, and they did a performance in the Adrian Arts Center.
Mm,
And then they got me like tickets and they gave them to my mom. And my mom told me like, oh, they got us tickets for this performance because you're like interested in dance, so you know let's just go. So then I just was like, okay, I'm gonna go see a dance performance, not really like aware of what the company was, and like what type of performance they do.
mhm.
And then I saw them perform, and it was just very like life changing for me because I really, really was interested in the type of like movement that they were doing. And it was like, I've never seen dance through that lens. And it was kind of like, I don't know, it really changed my view on dance. And like, it really yeah.
No, yeah. And I love that you didn't give up, you were like, what, where the boys at, and you kept pushing it and pushing the issue, that's impact, that
Yeah.
is impact of using your voice. And I'm so thankful to your mother for taking you to the show.
I'm glad she took me too. It really did changed
Well,
my
it
life,
was
I
for
feel
the free. She could do that. It was for
like.
like,
Yeah.
come on.
But
uh,
then like afterwards, as I grew up,
mhm,
um sorry, my lamp turned off.
it's okay.
Afterwards, as I grew up,
We
let me
see
fix this. Okay, afterwards, as I grew up,
you.
I stopped dancing because
Mhm,
it did get to me that, like I didn't want to be made fun of for
mhm,
being a boy as a dancer. I feel like being a boy as a dancer, that's something that we always go through. Like, you don't want to be made fun of. So like some people choose to like continue to go to like to keep dancing, but I chose to stop dancing because I didn't want to, go through that. But then I ended up finding it again, because it really was something that made a huge impression on me. And like watching that show when I was in sixth grade, um yeah, it's a staple for me in my dance journey.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you came back home. That's what it sounds like, because now you're with Zest Collective. And I know you can't just be anybody, okay, to be in Zest Collective, okay? Anybody ain't walking up in the Zest Collective
Mm-mm,
studios. No. So
mm-mm.
powerhouses only, right? Yes. And you cultivated that practice. Um, what are some of your favorite, I guess it would be genre of dance? What are some of your favorites? I'm sure ballet is one, but are there any others that you like to, practice and are a part of your process?
I really love contemporary. I think contemporary is like one of my main genres that I feel like I explore the most in.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a lot of Afro-Caribbean as well. I feel like I really like the movement and like the intention behind the movement. So, and I really do like acro too.
Okay, okay. My daughter was an acro for a period of time. She was really good. She was actually really, she was. Um, it was me, y'all. I was scared because then they were talking about now you have to put her in gymnastics, and the girls who was coming in there had broken bones. I said, absolutely
Oh.
not. It was me. You have to be
Not
brave
broken.
to have dancers for dancer children. You have to be brave. And I think that's a big misconception about dance. I think you said it best, Deja, that athleticism, you are always an athlete. So the dance is organic. And people sometimes don't put athleticism and dance together. But if we even look at the floor routines of the gymnasts, there's dance. They do an entire routine before they go flipping off into the sunset, right? So I have a question for all of you. What is something that you would like folks to know about dancers in general, or about this work and this practice that maybe has been misunderstood? They're like, y'all are like, there's a lot. Have a list. First of all, pay us.
I think exposing yourself more than just what you see maybe in the movies or like dance moms, like I would say go to shows. Like I think that's just the main thing, is really to expose yourself, go see dance companies, support your community, because I think what you may see like on television is very limited. And can, be a little maybe stereotypical in certain ways, but yeah, that would be my suggestion.
Yes, I think I'd echo what Deja says. The great part about the performance is that it's live, and there's nothing like the live experience. Like right now, we're all in the digital age. We're on our phone and we're clicking and we're liking and we're subscribing, but we're not really having that visceral experience of being with the dancer, moving with them, breathing with them, and also the feeling of being with an audience as well, and everyone in this collective transport, going somewhere and feeling something. And not only you're getting out, you can go to dinner with your family and friends. It's just a different experience for the evening as opposed to clicking on the TV. But it's something that we curate and that we work on year round. And the moment is so fleeting. We're working something for 4 or 5 months for one evening, and so I guess to answer your question, that there's a lot of time and effort that goes into this, a lot of background with the costuming, the rehearsals, the facilities, the lighting, the grant writing. It's a full beyond a job, but it's a work of passion, a craft, a work of heart that really involves the soul and the whole human being.
And I think that statement right there is a great segue into talking about your partnership with the Moss Center and the Salon series and how it's been working in this incubator type of collaborative space.
Yes, we are so blessed to be at the Moss Center. As I mentioned, we worked at the main stage earlier this year, and now we're incubating this new work, which we will premiere in September, entitled The Fountain. And they provided more than 100 hours for us to just rehearse. We've got multiple days to work with different lighting, and we have 3 performances. They provided marketing materials and other resources, including feedback with production feedback as far as where we're going with the material and where we can go with the material in the future.
Incredible. And if you could speak a little bit more about your inspiration for the new work and the setting for the new work. As I understand, this setting is in Overtown, and yes, and I'm excited to hear that because we always want to shine light on the amazing historic spaces in the city of Miami, their histories, and how they have been so significant in the progression of the city of Miami. If you can expand and expound upon that, and also how you're trying to connect that with the lyric theater. Yes.
Yeah, well, the fountain draws inspiration from Overtown, which was once known as Colored Town. And so in this work, you see these colored people of all sort of colors and the costumes of all sort of colors. But, you know, this work is inspired by, I was just driving on my way to work, as I do every day, downtown, and I drive by the Lyric Theater, and I would just take this route and sort of just envision us dancing in this space. Unfortunately, for this go round, we have not been able to perform this work there, but this is our first rendition and something that I hope we will continue to work on. And I do intend to get us into the Lyric Theater because it's such a historic space. This space was once a church, you know, once a jazz hall, and our work, the music for this work, the history for this work is completely inspired by the people who fought and bled during this time, during the Civil Rights era, which is where most of this music was created during that time as well. Most of my family, they grew up in Overtown, and with the construction of the I-95 highway, they were all dispersed to different parts of the community. So this is why this work is so important.
Absolutely. And just for context, I-95 literally ripped through the city of Overtown, separating it, creating displacement, separating families. People had to move as far as all the way down south, where I'm from in Richmond Heights, so all the way up north, past Carroll City to West Palm Beach because of the damage of this highway. We're gonna figure out how to get you in that Lyric Theater, okay? I'm gonna talk to some people, okay?
Yeah, well, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. And I mentioned some time ago, you know, I went to the Moss Center a few years ago to watch the National Company of Jamaica. And within 2 years' time, here we are, you know, and, you know, I'm really keen on dreaming big and, you know, taking all those steps to really make it happen, but mostly about the art and about the work.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this work, additionally, I want to say that it was drawn from the hymns that were reverberating in the halls of the Lyric Theater, which was once a church. So that's why this new work is completely with Negro Spiritual music. Additionally, with this work, I wanted to showcase African-American female musicians. So we've got music by Leontyne Price, Barbara Hendricks, Inez Matthews, Jessye Norman. These are classical opera singers, beautiful, beautiful voices that I wanted to shed light and really honor their contributions to our culture and to society. That's our first number. And our second number is a jazz suite with music by Abbey Lincoln with a big festive finale by Mongo Santamaria. So the work is all a celebration of our history, how far we've come, and all of the wonderful music and art that we've created.
And the fountain was originally commissioned by the Moss Center, correct?
Yeah, the fountain was commissioned by the Moss Center for the Salon series. And however, the fountain was actually a work that I was working on without any commission then when I lived in New York City before the coronavirus pandemic, which is why this work is so special to finally be able to bring it to life. Because as you mentioned earlier, with the COVID pandemic, I sort of disbanded the company. I moved away. Many of the dancers, they moved away to their hometowns and their own countries as well. And so I was able to gather some of our video footage and compiled this work. So it's a love song to my former dancers, my forever friends, and my new friends that I've met here in South Florida.
Beautiful. And a little bit more about Afro Blue. I know that Afro Blue featured, and I got to see it in the Miami Light Project in 2023. And there is a beautiful backstory to Afro Blue, that this work is a love song for your uncle and your father, and the everyday heroes that, you know, don't make it to our newspapers or don't make it into our books. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, one of the key pieces of this work is Brother, Where Are You? And as I mentioned, the work is set to the music by Abbey Lincoln, whose voice is hypnotic. She kind of just draws you in. And so this work tells the story of a family who's lost a loved one. And it's for my uncle Alfred, who was murdered when he was trying to help a civilian who was being robbed in the gas station. And those people turned around and shot my uncle. And the tragedy that just began to spew from that within my family, with my grandmother losing her first son, my father growing up without an older brother, you know, without a friend, without someone to look up to, and, you know, having to step into manhood, and just a sense of loss, which I'm sure we have all experienced on many capacities in our life. And I wanted to create this for my dad. And as I mentioned, the work, the Afro Blue by Mongo Santamaria, it's a Caribbean number which celebrates his multicultural heritage. And so the story itself and the music and the drums and the Congo was just specifically for him, and a way to communicate some things that are just sometimes words really can't do enough to really express our gratitude, our love, our understanding of, you know, complex, nuanced situations. And so this is why I've created this dance for our audiences as well, who, as I mentioned, they've all experienced some sort of loss and have then, you know, continued to face life and those challenges. And so the piece ends in a more of a festive note, but it does take you on an emotional journey.
And Deja, you are a part of that dance, correct?
I am a part of Afro Blue. I'm not doing the duet that Gentry was just speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I perform a solo called Lonely House. And like Gentry was just saying, her voice is very powerful. And I feel like she really creates a clear setting of, I don't know, like a woman just, yes, feeling lonely, and everyone has felt alone at some point, or being in a house by yourself, or maybe if you are mourning someone and you feel maybe alone in that time. So yes, that solo is very powerful, and brings up a lot of emotions. And it's been also an interesting experience of doing it. Like I've done it quite a few times now, and just learning something new or finding something new within that solo to make it feel different every single time.
I love that, because sometimes I'll go to a show more than once. And I love that when I go to the show, you know, it's almost like I'm seeing the process of the dancer or the singer or the artist doing something different, playing around, you know, having an epiphany about the work right there on stage. So I love that you incorporate that into your process. And Carlos, the dance that you're included in, what has been the most challenging of getting into character with your movement?
I don't think it's not too challenging. I feel like to get into character within movement, I feel like it's very easy for me to put myself into a pocket of emotions that I feel like the emotions just come naturally, and like the movement kind of guides that. I feel like it's very easy for me to get myself to a place and become this like I feel like the emotion, actually, like I become the emotion in movement, and it's dancing around with music, you know. I feel like it's very easy for me to put myself into that place.
It just comes naturally. You're just like, I'm a G, like, what you asking me, lady? Like, I do
You want
it.
me to cry?
I
could
do
cry.
it. You want to be a cheetah? I'm a cheetah. Like, what's up? I got you.
Yeah.
This doesn't get discussed a lot, but you know, I have heard that we are going to see some incredible costuming in this production. So I would love to hear more about the costumes and the inspiration behind the costumes. And what does it feel like to be in the costumes? And can I get a costume? Can I get a half of one?
I'm sure we can find a way to get you a costume at some
Thank
point.
you. We'll work for costumes.
Our costumes, you know, one of the best things that I enjoyed about being a performer was putting on all these fantastic costumes. So in all of the work that I create, I do try to bring us into the mood, because I think beyond the dance, you know, it's the setting, the costuming, the era, and you know, that helps the dancers, you know, get into the character, but also for the audience. I like to feel that it's like a movie where people are just happen to be dancing, you know, they're not quite singing, it's not quite Broadway. But it's definitely, you know, a musical. And so all of the costumes, for instance, from Afro Blue are from the 50s and the 60s, which I've got from eBay. And with our costumers, they've made their adjustments and brought them up to date. But it really is important that the costumes feel reflective of the time. And for our work, The Fountain, the costumes are beautiful. I want the dancers to feel like they're angels, you know, or we're looking up in heaven, or some of the angels have descended down onto earth, or you're in a great cathedral and you're looking up and you see one of those angels dancing. So because of the music is using all these hymnals and these classical tunes that are very spiritual, all of the dancers are an angel from throughout time. So some of the dancers their costumes are a little bit more antiquated, some are a little bit more up to date, but the color scheme all represents, you know, these sort of angels prancing and here on earth. Even in the movement, it's very angelic, like.
And I would love to know if there's anything about your process, the choreographic process, that you would like to share with us. I know oftentimes choreographers can be very secretive about their process because, you know, everybody don't need to know the sauce. But if there's anything that you would like to share with us about how you curate these dances, we would love to hear it.
Most of my work starts with improvisations, which I'll then give to another dancer whom I trust and whom I feel can, and Deja can attest to this. This is how I met her and how I hope that we'd be a great fit. But I just like improvise in my living room, and I give her a few cues and say, okay, I want this to feel sort of like this. Can you draw this from this and draw this from that? And working with dancers who are able to really shape material and get a good grasp of things. I work a lot with videos where I might splice a few videos together, because in my head I see, you know, one phrase leading to the next, but you know, because we're always pressed for time or studio space, it's impossible to do it. So I do create a lot just on my phone, and I've just got footage and footage and footage. And sometimes I just have a phrase and I'll play with the music and it happens to go. But I try to use as much digital and imagination, and working with people who are just as imaginative. And even working with Carlos as well, you know, he was my student at New York School of the Arts, and I taught him composition, and I thoroughly enjoyed all of his exercises and all of his showings and all of the things that he created, the way that he works with everyone. His imagination was just so rich. And so it's about finding individuals who are just as imaginative, if not more, and are enthusiastic and creative, and are willing to take creative liberties for the nourishment of the art, and are in tune with the process and the final product, and feeling like a member of the collective.
And what are some of the goals and dreams, hopes, aspirations for Zest Collective Company?
Well, it would be great to have a building, to have a theater, and travel across the world and do some world tours, some national tours, and be like any great big company.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'd love to take us on the road somewhere. I think we're a good bunch of people. We could have a lot of fun. We can get outside of Miami and, just continue to build our repertoire and get more people, more choreographers, more voices, more sets, more lavish costumes, more extravagant works that will really just, make a statement. We're the millennials. We're a brand new generation. We have a great history of great work. But we have a voice as well, and we have things that we want to say and reflections that we want to see iterated on stages throughout the world.
Incredible. So just to reiterate one more time, the Salon series with Zest Collectives runs from Friday, September 13th, 2024 to Sunday, September 15th, 2024. And the venue is in the Lab Theater located at the Moss Center. Please purchase your tickets now, because you will be incredibly sad if you miss out on this event and you miss out on these amazing dancers and this amazing choreographer who has done so much to make space, to make safe spaces, to make inclusive spaces for artists in the city of Miami and beyond. Thank you for your contributions, Gentry George, and thank you, Deja and Carlos, as well, for joining us today.
Thank you as well. Thank you, Deja and Carlos.
And thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to our amazing moderator, Arsimmer. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. And thank you to you at home for tuning in. We do look forward to seeing you at the in-person performances. Again, as Arsimmer said, they are on September 13th through September 15th, and you can get your tickets at mosscenter.org. We hope to see you there soon. Thanks so much.